Yo, what up? So, ETH 2.0 is on the way. I believe it's like 30 days or something like that until ETH 2.0 merges with the main chain and the new rules take effect on the blockchain. You can go to whenmerge.com, WHENMERGE.com, and you can see, basically when that update is going to take place. Anyway, what does this mean? A lot of the complaints about ETH was when there's high volumes of usage, the gas fees, which are basically like transaction fees, so to speak, on ETH, go very high. They're huge, right? And this also sometimes, some cases, very rarely really, causes delays in, the transactions taking place. And the transactions aren't necessarily like I pay you or something like that. Sometimes transactions are, I want to mint or create new NFTs, or I want to put a record of something on the blockchain. That's a transaction. And so, that's some of the complaints. That's really the main complaint, is high gas fees. Everybody would be cool with ETH if there wasn't high gas fees. Some people try to make, the ESG argument, and it's not even close. I mean, it's not even a real argument, like seriously. But anyway, if they were able to lower the gas fees, right, then you could coin NFTs at will for very cheap. You could create records of things on the blockchain for very cheap. A lot of the coins that use Ethereum's blockchain as the utility chain, they could basically expand whatever marketing they're doing now, because it would be able to accommodate, the entire chain would be able to accommodate everybody's volume of transactions and activity on the blockchain, because everybody's using this main blockchain for all these smart contracts and whatnot. In theory, okay? Here's another thing. Here's why ETH 2.0 took so long to roll out, is because, if they merge it with the existing blockchain and it doesn't work, man, they'll screw everything up. Everything gets screwed up. You know what I'm saying? And it becomes like, it just creates, ETH 2.0 goes to zero. You know what I mean? If they screw it up. So taking this long to roll it out, I'm assuming, because Ethereum, according to the programmers on GitHub and, people who work on Ethereum and don't work on Ethereum, there's many videos of programmers talking about the names and the organizations working on the Ethereum blockchain, and they're doing it for free. They're not necessarily like being paid. Not in most scenarios they're not, right? But they're contributing code to the Ethereum blockchain, and these are some of the best developers in the world, right? I'm assuming a lot of these people, if they're smart, and I'm sure they are, I'm sure they're brilliant, I'm sure they're much smarter than I, but if they're smart, they have at least some kind of stake in Ethereum by owning the coin. And if they own the coin, then they'll benefit from the success of the Ethereum blockchain rolling out. So in theory, when this new chain comes on and it works properly, and we'll get to that, right? But if it works properly, then you have very low gas fees, you have increased transaction speeds. Another thing that is going to happen is they're going to move from a proof of work algorithm to a proof of stake algorithm. I consider that a flaw. I don't consider that a good thing. I think that that's a terrible thing. But what that means is, right now, miners are contributing CPU power to securing the blockchain, right? And in securing the blockchain, they get rewarded not only in the transaction fees, but also in mining new Ethereum, okay? Now, the reason why this is good is because the amount of miners that are on the network is so vast that at this point in time, you cannot just be one entity that controls the mining power of Ethereum. Like, you just can't, because there's not enough chips out there for you to buy to be able to do that with. That's why. You know what I mean? So when you see stuff like, so that's a proof of work algorithm, where it uses people contributing CPU power to solving equations and processing information to then get rewarded. What they're moving to is a proof of stake algorithm in which somebody with deep pockets can just stake their Ethereum on the blockchain, and they now do the same thing that the miners do, right? Now, electricity-wise, sure, it's great, right? Fantastic that we're not using as much electricity. But when you see that, like more than 60% of miners in crypto in general are using renewable energy anyway, because it's free. Because if they don't have to pay an energy bill, then they get to keep that money in their pocket, right? So the incentive is there for them to use renewable energy anyway. And so 60% of them are doing that. Then the electricity standpoint becomes a moot point. But if you're somebody who has very deep pockets and you've come late to the game in crypto, especially on Ethereum, now you have an opportunity to swoop market share on the quote unquote mining power, which will now be called staking power, right? And so that's a con, right? So now anybody, let's say you're a government, let's say you're the US government, let's say you're the Chinese government, now you can purchase the staking power of Ethereum, and you could do it overtly or covertly, but now you can begin to harness the power and the traction on that chain. Now look, that's some people might call that conspiracy theory. I say that's a very likely scenario, considering Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum, has been meeting with governments around the world since like 2016, you know what I mean? Including Putin in Russia, and many other places, right? Now, let's say that happens, and if it comes out, it's found out that is what's going on. It's not like the whole chain is just, out of luck and that's it, it's over. You could fork the chain, miners can come on and fork the current ETH chain and then, roll back some things. It'll take a vote and then there's a process to it. Or they can just clone the chain and then create an entirely new Ethereum platform, and then those miners can contribute to that, and now the proof of stake algorithm thing will just be dead in the water. It'll never happen again. That'll be it for it, especially after it gets bogarted. But those are some things that the community can do. Man, there's something else I wanted to talk about that I glossed over before. All right, so anyway, in regards to the new features on Ethereum, something that's really cool that's going to be messed up for a lot of chains is the low transaction fees. So with the low transaction fees, now you have the ability for Ethereum to do what a lot of the other chains want to do and even try to do. And a lot of them do, actually. I should give them more credit than Bitcoin maximalists give them typically. But, Bitcoin is yet to have smart contracts, which, is not necessarily a good thing. It's kind of a good thing. But basically, Ethereum is the one that had smart contracts. And now with the fees lowered, any other chain that's out there that does smart contracts on the blockchain, Ethereum basically kills that. And the reason why is because, in my opinion anyway, just my opinion, if I owned all the investment capital in the world and I decided where it would go, if ETH 2.0 was a success, I would divest out of all these other coins. I would just go into ETH 2.0 because it has the longest chain, has the most security, has the best minds working on innovating it, blah 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 blah. And so with that happening, it's kind of tough. The downside to that is that there's proof of staking rewards. Anybody can buy the chain and create their own rules that they want, their own rules, right? Which would create a split in the chain, and it wouldn't work for very long because people would get hip to it and adjust accordingly. Now, the other side of that too is that Bitcoin has a proposal that's in the works because the code still needs work on it. I forgot the proposal name. It was like BIP something, blah blah blah. But this basically creates a pathway for Bitcoin to support smart contracts. Now, if Bitcoin supports smart contracts, it's over. It's over for Ethereum. It's over for, basically every other chain. It's done. Because Bitcoin is the most secure chain. Here's the thing you got to understand. Security is the most important thing in blockchain. It's in crypto, it's security. If Bitcoin was not secure in so many different ways of security, basically all the ways of security, if it wasn't secure in those ways, it would be worthless. It would be zero. But since it's really good at all of the ways of security, it's 20,000. You know what I mean? So, these are the things you got to consider, and these are the things you got to think about when it comes to assessing the viability of a blockchain long term. And that's why 60% of the market, maybe something like that, so maybe more, is Bitcoin and Ethereum, and literally 20,000 other coins are not. Yeah, So yeah, man, ETH 2.0 is going to drop. I think if you want to take advantage of it, you probably should get you some ETH. I think a really great idea would be to stake ETH on an ETH contract after this 2.0 drops, and you already have ETH. You're going to need 32 ETH to do it. This is a lot cheaper than it used to be. But yeah, man, full steam ahead in the crypto space. I don't know what they talking about on the internet, but you know what I mean? And on boots on the ground, man, it's popping. All right. So, hope everything goes well. Holla at me if you got some questions. Love you. Be safe. Be patient. Really learn what you're investing into so that you can, come to the very logical conclusion that there's very little else that can replace what this technology is bringing to the table. All right. Love you. Peace.